We're talking secret societies and inner earth with Andrew Gough, a writer and presenter of historical mysteries. Andrew is a revered presenter at this year's Awakening, UFO, and Conscious Life Expo in Blackpool. And this exclusive interview is a very special part of our coverage of the Awakening UFO and Conscious Life Expo. And we're really investigating the very latest in ufology, consciousness, and ancient civilizations in affiliation with Zohar Entertainment and Gaia. Gaia is your Netflix of consciousness with over 9,000 enlightening videos. So please click on the information below to secure your Gaia subscription today. I'm Kristen Gillespie, your conscious investigative reporter. And Andrew, thank you so much for your time and your wisdom today. Can you give us a little taster of what we're going to learn from your new material in your presentation at the Expo? For instance, is it possible that we are actually inside the so-called inner earth right now?
Kristen, first of all, thank you very much. I'm really excited to be part of this amazing event. And yes, that's the question I'm going to pose is, we all know a little bit about the inner earth, right? But we're going to talk about that at the event and kind of review some elements of it and introduce some new ones and also elaborate on why I'm interested in the inner earth, because it has to do with my own journey and my own exploration for an excavation that entails the inner earth. And that's how I got into all this. And as I got into it, I became more and more aware of what some of the experts, some of the scientists had to say about the possibility of the inner earth. And that led me very serendipitously to the realization that some of these scientists say, guess what? We're not on the outside. We're also on the inside.
Wow, that is absolutely mind-blowing.
Right? It just, it's one of those things, someone tells you that and you're like, okay, I think I'll skip that presentation. He sounds like a bit of a nutter. No, this is amazing. And the fact that it's even a possibility, substantiated by not only scientists, not only governments, but all, not some, all ancient societies knew and wrote and spoke with great awareness about the fact that we are on the inside. So it's, I'm excited to share this with the audience at the event. And, people ask me, you're talking an awful lot about the inner earth. We've heard you talk about the inner earth. This is going to be different. This is going to be a new focus on the subject. But the reason I'm into it, and I guess the only disappointment I have is I had really hoped to share my own discovery of the inner earth and archaeological excavation that I've undertaken with Klaus Dana, which has led to an understanding by necessity of what is the inner earth? What is this notion that other societies, other beings are living beneath our feet under the crust of the earth with their own sun, moons, and rivers and oceans? There's so many stories that substantiate that. And because of my own journey, I've had to investigate those because I'm about to go on one of them.
Andrew, I'm a psychotherapist as well, and I'm really curious about your process personally in getting there. If you don't mind me asking, did that not turn your version of reality that was existing completely upside down?
It really does. I mean, it's a big leap of faith to even contemplate in a serious conversation that there could be civilizations beneath the planet, right? I mean, you have Edmund Halley, you have Gauss, you have all these famous scientists who argue in great detail about why that would be the case, how that could be the case. And some of them, as I've shared earlier, I don't want to give too much away, have indicated that actually we're not that unique. We're on the inside. And again, the fascinating thing is that we're taunted with that information. I wouldn't call them secret societies, but I would call them groups of people who know secrets and are taunting the rest of us with the reality of the fact that we are on the inside. Well, on the inside of what? On the inside of, that's what we're going to talk about at the event.
It opens up so many doors and realms of possibilities. It's almost infinite, right?
It's almost infinite, and you know, people are probably thinking, "Oh, here comes another conspiracy," but it's not a conspiracy theory. It's a theory that's really substantiated, again, by scientists, by every ancient culture, and when viewers get a chance to look at some of the images that have been put out by the people who know about this, they're going to be like, well, it's so obvious. And there's all kinds of whistleblowers. We're going to talk about a couple Russian scientists who were sent to investigate how this could be possible. What do you mean we're on the inside? Well, didn't we go to the moon? How do we leave our atmosphere? You know, we'll find out that we can't. Do you know those little, when you go on holiday and you're a little kid and you point to the shelf and you say, Mom, I want one of those snow globes. You shake them and snow starts falling in the little scene of whatever town you're in. We're going to talk about whether or not there's more truth than fiction in the fact that that is Earth.
I'm interested in the mechanics, Andrew, of your work and this inner Earth theory. And specifically, how does the Aurora borealis phenomenon support your claims?
Well, it's interesting. The Aurora borealis, for me, has always been a fascinating subject. And on another thread of research, I wondered, how could something so spectacular that is this, you know, multi-colored, strange sort of element of the gods appearing in the Northern Hemisphere not have been savored and written about by the ancients? But in fact, it was. They called it the Sampo. But that's neither here nor there. Your question is, how does that support the inner Earth theory? Now, a lot of the scientists that we're going to be talking about believe that the Aurora borealis came out of gaping holes at the poles. And when you look at images from the 60s and 70s, whether it's NASA or ESA or the Russian Mirror spaceships, they all show a wide open pole. North and South poles are wide open. And you know, how can that be? You look at them today with Google Earth and it's all redacted. It's just sort of a white area. And you look at even images that NASA tells us is, for instance, Saturn, and the whole planet's kind of samey, except for the pole is an octagon shape. So there's something about the poles being open, and we'll also talk about people who have traveled into these locations like Admiral Byrd and others, really respected people who have kept diaries and reported on what they've seen. So we're going to talk about, you know, the fact that what they're observing kind of supports the fact that things like the Aurora borealis might be coming out of openings on our planet into another element, level, or dimension of it beneath our planet.
And Andrew, does this discovery somehow relate to a potential pole shift?
Well, pole shifts have been spoken about by ancient societies for a long time. The Mayans sort of referred to them. Others have attempted to kind of gauge the reoccurrence and the fluctuation. And the fact that a pole shift is imminent is something that's been discussed by scientists and enthusiasts alike. It is an element that we're going to have to explore in a new context, this new context that what if we're living in a snow globe? And I know if you're hearing this now, you think he has lost his mind. First, he's talking about bees. Now he's talking about, I'm dead serious. You will be flabbergasted with the information that supports the fact that at least we need to ask the question. Yes, there's legends of the inner earth, and every single country and continent all over the globe have them, not some, all of them. And all of them have a similar theory about being on the inside. But nobody talks about that. And that's what we're going to talk about.
Brilliant, Andrew. That's Andrew Gough challenging existing paradigms, right? And traditional belief systems. And that's so important in our society today, where that's being very much censored. And I'm wondering, another sort of aspect of your work that also touches on existing historical, shall we say, shared belief systems, is this idea that evidence suggests that humans coexisted with dinosaurs. That really kind of points to the human race being potentially over, I think you said 400 million years old. How can this be?
Well, there's a lot of people who have lost their jobs, archaeologists, even scientists, because they've made claims about things that are so far counter-narrative. Michael Cremo is a great example. His work in forbidden archaeology, I mean, he is the master at this, and he takes you back civilizations that were 15,000 years ago. People talk about that, they lose their job. 30,000, 50,000, 100,000. The earth is incredibly ancient, and I think we need, without going into the realm of conspiracy, but let's be honest, in today's world, what we've observed for the past couple of years, there aren't many conspiracies left. They've all come true. And thus, we need to question absolutely everything that we've been told, challenge it, because this notion of a great reset, there's been control of information in the past, and we really, whether it's the Tartarian civilization or what really happened in this war or that war, whoever wins and has the gold, as the golden rule, they can tell you exactly what they want to tell you about what happened. And I think we're starting to wake up to the fact that we've been told a lot of untruths about our past. So I would just ask the viewers to have an open mind and imagine that you weren't spoon-fed for decades, the conventional narrative, and rather just kind of put that to a side and ask the question, what if this evidence was suggesting something else?
That's right. And challenging the indoctrination camps that we call our modern day education systems. That's important too. So I'm wondering how this touches on the secret societies you mentioned at the beginning of this interview and these secrets in plain sight. Can you go into that a little bit for us in closing?
Yeah, well, in closing, there's always somebody who's going to know the real story, and there's going to be a reason and a motivation as to why they don't want the masses to know that. And it comes down to control and manipulation and profit and all the usual motives, right? But they can't help themselves. Sometimes information leaks, like these documents from the late 1950s are part of other classified documents that were unclassified 20 years ago, but nobody ever dreamed that somebody would look through all of that and let alone search for this element that proves the existence of the fact that we're not potentially on the inside. And the people who know this, again, they can't help themselves. So media, films, speeches by politicians, confessions of NASA, they all sort of tell you, but you're not listening because we've all been so conditioned that we don't know what they're telling us is really the truth of a whistleblower. And we'll talk about all of that at the event.
Amazing. I cannot wait to attend your presentation, learn more, and we're going to catch up more for an in-depth interview on site at the Awakening UFO and Conscious Life Expo in Blackpool. Andrew, how can we find out more about your fascinating work?
Well, thanks so much. AndrewGough.com is my website. And you'll probably catch me on one of your History and Mystery Channel programs most nights.
Brilliant. You don't want to miss this presentation, and you definitely don't want to miss the Awakening UFO and Conscious Life Expo, everybody. And also, please subscribe to Gaia, your Netflix of consciousness. All the information is below. I'm Kristen Gillespie, your conscious investigative reporter, signing off for now in humble service to humanity and all sentient beings. Thank you, Andrew.
See you there.